Title of our presentation is going to be Development and Validation of an Integrated Functional Safety and Reliability Engineering Framework for Robust Electric Vehicles. So myself, Dr. P.Arjunraj, and my colleague. Okay. So these are all the content of our presentation. We will be starting with the definition of functional safety reliability engineering. Of course, we are also going to talk about value engineering, because while we are developing the functional safety and reliability engineering for electric vehicle products and electric vehicle, we need to consider the value and also the cost. So that's why we are also bringing the topic called value engineering into the presentation. And we are also going to talk about the correlation between value engineering, functional safety, and reliability engineering. And we are going to, I'm going to shortly called VES value engineering, FS as function safety, and RES reliability engineering. And we are also going to talk about the integration framework for value engineering, function safety, and reliability engineering. And then the job plan for value engineering, function safety, and reliability engineering, followed by which we will be talking about the system design for reliability and the different SIL levels, automotive safety index level. And then we will be giving a overview about fail-safe design, starting from the function to a safe transition state, and also the redundancy system. And we'll be talking about the product reliability through simulation, testing and validation for reliability, and finally we'll be concluding our presentation. Okay, so let us see the definition of value engineering, functional safety, and reliability engineering. As all of you know that value engineering is nothing but a structured and systematic approach where we are aiming at maximizing the value for the product or a system or a process by achieving the required functions with the lowest total overall cost. So that is the target which all the companies are looking into it. And the key aspect is, while we are achieving the value engineering or value to the customer, we need to ensure that we are not compromising on the performance, quality, reliability, or safety. Why I'm bringing all these three topics in a single slide? So it's all there is always a correlation between value, functional safety, and reliability engineering, which we are going to see. That's the reason I'm going to cover all in an integrated way to everyone here. Coming back to the next aspect is the functional safety, which is nothing but the absence of unreasonable risk due to the hazard which has been caused by the malfunctioning behavior of electrical electronics or programmable electronic systems in an electric vehicle. And the third aspect is the very important thing called reliability engineering, which is nothing but the systematic application of engineering principle or using some analytical methods or statistical techniques to ensure that the system, product, or components perform its intended function. So when I say function, it is common for value engineering, functional safety, and also reliability engineering. So function is the key for all these three aspects. And we are also ensuring that this function is going to last over a period of time without any failure. That's where the reliability comes into picture, with the condition given with respect to the operating and also the environmental aspects. So this is the key aspects in terms of value engineering, where we look into the value optimization. In terms of functional safety, we look into the risk mitigation or safety aspects. And in case of reliability engineering, which is nothing but the quality over time or dependability over time, so we are going to cover. The objective of this slide here is the value improvement plan, where this has been applied during the development phase. Basically, for an electric vehicle, it starts with the product, and then system, and then goes for the complete vehicle. So you can see here, in the x-axis is cost versus function, and the y-axis, we start with a low function with high cost, which is nothing but a possible value. Next is an acceptable value, where we look into the moderate function and moderate cost. Next is the high function with controlled cost, where the value is considered as a high. We are starting the we're doing development phase. What we start is we start with the low value, then medium value, then we provide a high value, and then we are also looking at providing some additional feature to the high value, where we call it we are also going to increase the function further. At the same time, we are also the cost also gets increased. And finally, we are also looking into the way where we can achieve the ideal value. It is nothing but having the very high function with a very low cost. So this is the ultimate objective which the company is looking into it. And because the customer wants with low cost with maximum function. And the value is defined as the ratio between function by cost. As I was mentioning, function is the key for value engineering, functional safety, and also reliability engineering. So we can increase the value by increasing the function. We can achieve the increase of value by four means: by acceptable way, by good way, by progressive way, and by ideal way. You can see here, in the case of acceptable thing, we can increase the function, and also we can increase the cost in the way such a way with moderate function and moderate cost, which is nothing but the moderate value, which is nothing but the acceptable value. And next comes the good value. Good value, or having good value having a high implication, where you have a high function with the controlled cost. And in terms of progressive, you have both cost is also increasing, function is also increasing, but the rate of increase of function is higher than the rate of increase of the cost. And the last is the ideal situation, where the function is very high and the cost is very low. And you can see the graph starting from possible to ideal. And this is the value improvement plan and the path towards the electric vehicle. And as I was mentioning, the correlation is very important between value, functional safety, and reliability engineering. As I was mentioning, value is defined as the ratio between function by cost. Function is nothing but the performance, and performance is also directly proportional to function. And as I was mentioning, the quality over time is reliability. So again, this is also correlated. Reliability and quality is also correlated. And reliability is also defined as performance of our function over time. Again, it is correlated towards value. And one aspect is the functional safety is the one which we need to talk now. As I was telling, functional safety starts with a function, then leading to the failure, and then how that failure can be avoided through technical safety requirements, analyzing the safety goal, safety mechanisms, and then HARA, which is nothing but hazard analysis and risk assessment. So I told you that the key aspect of value engineering, functional safety, and reliability is function. Okay, so to achieve the function is the very important aspect in all the three things. In this slide, I'm going to talk about the importance of reliability and then functional safety in the electric vehicle. See, this is the pie chart which shows the percentage of failures which is happening in an electric vehicle, for which we need to ensure that reliability is very important aspect. So that's where the importance of reliability comes into picture here. And in the right side, you can see the percentage in terms of different parameters or different verticals is being mentioned. That's where the functional safety is very important with respect to electric vehicle point of view. Let us first explain about the reliability importance. You can see here the failures of 100%. In that, 25% of the failure are happening with respect to charging infrastructure. 20% of failure are happening because of the environmental stress. 15% of failure is happening because of power electronics. 10% are failing because of the service issue, and 30% of the failure are happening because of the battery degradation. That's why it's very important that we need to maximize the uptime and performance, and we need to reduce the life cycle cost, and also we need to enhance the durability and customer satisfaction, and we need to have the long value and customer trust. That's why the importance of reliability comes into picture here. Coming back to the importance of functional safety, where it will help us to prevent the hazard and protect occupants. And as you know that it is meeting the ISO 26261 and the regulations, and it also reduces the risk and then the potential liabilities. Finally, again, it also helps us to build a trust and then the acceptance with respect to the market point of view. You can see the percentage here, where 25% of the failure, the safety issues are happening because of the traction and powertrain control issue, leading to the hazard. And then with respect to the battery management system, BMS, again, there's 20% of the failures are happening, which means hazards are happening, leading to the safety issue. And 15% of the failure are happening because of the thermal management and then the fire safety. And 10% are happening because of the charging safety and then the communication issue. And lastly, 30% of the failure are happening because of the high voltage system. And it's very important that the outcome of both reliability and safety is very to be achieved together. It's not that reliability alone and the safety alone, it should be together. And that's very important here. So with respect to the project triangle, you see here, there is always a time to market pressure for the tier 1 companies and also OEMs. So it's very important that it's not just when you're looking about the project, it's three verticals. One is cost, quality, and then time. But I am also integrating the functional safety into this aspect. But again, to achieve the cost, functional safety, and quality, we also need to ensure that all these three are in a balanced state, such a way the time is being met with respect to the target point of view. That's where the development milestone comes into picture. The time for the testing and validation comes into picture. The time for market readiness comes into picture, and then the launch plan, everything comes into picture. And let us go to the next slide. As I was mentioning the time factor in the previous slide in the project triangle, to achieve the value safety, which means cost, safety, and then the quality. So that is been achieved by the framework called integration framework, where we have different phases. Each phases will have a certain timeline. First phase is nothing but the DR0 phase, which is nothing but the concept phase, where the primary design focus will be with respect to the architecture and then the requirement definition. And in the case of value engineering, in the first concept phase, what we do is we do the function cost analysis. It's called FAST, which is nothing but function analysis system technique. And then we do the topology selection, and also we do the power and then cooling trade-off. And in the case of functional safety, in the concept stage, we do the item definition, initial hazard identification. For example, in the case of motor control unit, we go for a unintended torque or loss of torque. And in the case of reliability engineering, we go for a mission profile definition, life, and then MTBF targets. Finally, the outcome of this DR0 concept stage is nothing but you should have the cost awareness, and also the architecture should be conceptualized, and then the safety concept is been taken into consideration, and also the reliability targets are being taken into the consideration. The second phase is nothing but the DR1 phase, which is nothing but design review 1. So DR stands for design review. So first is DR0 concept phase, next comes DR1 design review 1, where we go for a system design. And the primary objective of this system design is to go for a conceptual design, and also the safety intended design should be frisked. For example, in the case of value engineering aspects, we look into the selection. Say, for example, semiconductor selection. It's just an example. It doesn't mean that the same will be followed, but just giving a hint how the approach will be. Say, for example, the semiconductor selection like IGBTs or SAC, and also DC link capacitor, and then We also do the trade-off with respect to cost versus performance. This is where very important, because as I was mentioning, cost, uh, function, reliability, function safety, everything should be integrated to such a way the trade-off should be balanced. Otherwise, what happens? It's again we may end up with higher reliability with higher cost, and then lower reliability without achieving the functional safety. So it's very important that we need to balance all the things in a trade-off manner. And in the system design, we go for a in the case of some function safety, we go for a ASIL allocation, and then safety goal. Say for example, safe torque limitation in the case of motor control unit, functional safety concept. And in reliability engineering, we define the system DFMA RBD, like we call parallel and series reliability. And then the key deliverables here is uh, to go for a system design with well-defined safety and reliability structure. And in the case of next comes DR2, where we go for a detailed design with design robustness and the change control. And in the case of value engineering, we go for a gate driver, PCB, thermal and interface optimization. And in the case of functional safety, we go for a diagnostics definition with respect to current, voltage, speed, etc. And here in RE, we go for a DFMA refinement, design review based failure modes, and then the derating analysis. And the outcome here is we go for a robust diagnostic and also the failure resistant design. And in the case of the DR3, we go for a validation phase where we come up with the verification and release readiness with the cost versus target validation. And then we achieve the safety validation in case of function safety, and we do the halt, host test, and other reliability tests in the case of reliability engineering phase. So, and the outcome of this DR3 is we are going to have a cost optimized, safety compliant, and reliable EV system. Okay, so why integration of all these three is important? Because it addresses cost, safety, and durability together. It is not in isolation, and it also helps us to avoid the conflicting design decisions between the cost reduction and the risk mitigation. It ensures the right level of redundancy, where both safety and reliability demands it. And as I was mentioning, the balancing is very important, where it balances performance, reliability, safety, and affordability. And it also predicts the real world failures and degradation using mission profiles and physics of failure mechanisms. And it also helps us to ensure the safe system behavior under fault and limit conditions. And it helps us to reduce the field failure downtime and warranty cost, because if the field failures are coming higher, then the warranty cost will go higher, and again the brand reputation also goes down for the company. And also this integration will help us to enable the regulatory compliance with respect to the standards without any going for over design, which will also cost over cost. Also, when you're going for over design, it is nothing but the cost is also involved. So this helps, the integration helps to have the robust, safe, reliable, and cost effective EV system. Okay, coming back to the job plan, in the case of value engineering, we have three phases. One is the pre-workshop stage, workshop stage, and post-workshop stage. In the pre-workshop stage, we select a project and then we collect data. And in the case of workshop stage, we start with the information phase where we collect the information about the project, where we analyze the function. As I was mentioning, the function is the heart of value engineering. So where we do the basic function, secondary function, one-time function, all-time function, design function, lower order function, higher order function. We have different functions where we analyze that. And next comes the creativity phase where we create the ideas. As I was showing in one of the slide, where the value improvement path, right, with various factors, improving the value, improving the functions, reducing the cost. Those things have been brainstormed here in the creativity phase, where the CFT teams will be sitting together and they will be doing the brainstorming to come up with a better way to improve the value, to fit into the good value or progressive value or the ideal value, by improving the better function with optimized cost. And next we evaluate the ideas what is being created in the creativity phase, which is nothing but the evaluation phase in terms of rankings. And once that ideas are being evaluated and ranked, the best ideas are being taken for the development phase, where we do the design, development, testing, which I have shown in DR0, 1, 2, and 3 phases. And finally, if there is no failure happening in the development phase, then we present to the top management, and once they approve, then we go for the implementation, where we go for a manufacturing. And after manufacturing, we also do the follow-up on the audit phase, where if there is any failure or any failure happening in the field, we do the follow-up and we ensure that the failure are being corrected. So this is the three level of phases that we follow in the value engineering. And next comes the job plan for the functional safety. Again, it is having the three levels: pre-workshop, workshop, and post-workshops. In the case of pre-workshop, we select the project. Again, we define the item definition, and we understand what is the system boundary, and we look into the standards, and we initially we prepare the HARA. We understand what is the we prepare the what is the risk preparation. We prepare all those things in the pre-workshop stage, where the concept phase comes into picture, where we do the issue determination as well. And in the case of workshop, where we start with the information, then we go for a system design, hardware design, software design, and then integration, and then validation. So here we start with function safety concept, safety goal, architecture. We go for a FMEDA, design for analysis, diagnostic coverage with respect to hardware point of view, and then we do the software design as well. Then again, integration is important here, where we do the integration of hardware and then software, and we ensure that testing is being carried out, validation is being carried out such a way there is no failure going to happen. Even if there is any failure, the corrective action will be taken care to ensure that it is not leading to a hazard issue. And finally, we go for a manufacturing, and then we implement it. And these are all the key milestones, like HARA, asset allocation, FSC, TSC, FMEDA, safety mechanisms, PNB, safety case development, confirmation, and then field monitoring. And with respect to the reliability engineering, again, we have various activities. First is the concept phase, where we start the reliability requirements and then the allocations. And then the system design, we go for a RBD, reliability block diagram, function analysis. Hardware design, we go for a DFMEA, physics of failure, D-rating. And in the case of software design, we go for a fault handling and diagnostics. Validation, we go for a halt and stress testing. And in production, we'll be doing the highly accelerated stress screening test, and then statistical process control. HALT stands for highly accelerated live test. We have the graph which we will show it down the line. And in the case of final stage is the operation stage, where we do the field reliability and then FRACAS, which is nothing but failure resolution analysis, corrective actions, and the corrective action system. If there is any field failure, we need to take the corrective action. That's where this FRACAS comes into the picture. Okay. So everyone is talking about the failure, and what is this? How the failure is going to happen? See, error leading to fault, fault leading to failure, failure leading to hazard, hazard leading to the risk safety issue. It is not that every error will lead to fault, and every fault will lead to failure. Every failure will lead to hazard, and every hazard will lead to safety issue. So that's where what we need to have is we need to have the different stages, as I was mentioning, DR0, 1, 2, 3, where we analyze the function in a detailed way to ensure that the failure is not going to happen. It's not just we are going to stop only up to failure. We are also going to the level where in the functional safety aspects, where we are ensuring that failure or the failure is not, even if the failure happens, it will not lead to hazard. So we are going to have the primary safety mechanism, secondary safety mechanism, safe state transition, and then redundancy for the design to ensure that hazard is not going to happen, and then it is also not leading to the safety issue. So we are going to cover all those things with one example for a motor control unit. And it's not just we follow the design alone while achieving the system design for reliability with respect to the three aspects. We also follow the process. We follow the APQP process, and we follow the PPAP process to ensure that all the test cases are documented and verified, and acceptance criteria are taken into consideration. Against the same test condition, we are also going to test to ensure that function safety is achieved, reliability is achieved, and such a way the overall value to the product is been achieved. So first we are achieving the value for a product. Next we are achieving the overall value for the electric vehicle. And when I'm designing the system, we look into two aspects. One is series reliability, another one is parallel reliability. Say for example, series reliability is if we have the battery, inverter, and motor. So if all these are in series, so here all the components must work together to achieve the function. If battery fails, then, or if inverter fails, or even if motor fails, if any one fails in this, then vehicle cannot move. That's where the challenges of reliability comes with respect to series point of view. Another one example is the battery cells in one string. If, for example, if the cells are in series, then all the cells must function together to maintain the voltage. If any failure happening in one cell, then it will affect all the other cells also. Say for example, in a battery system having 96 cells in series, if any one cell is failing, then it will affect the complete EV battery pack. That's why the overall reliability for a series system is going to be lower. Where, say for example, if it is R1 for battery, R2 for inverter, and R3 for motor. Say for example, if the individual reliability is zero point 0.9, so zero point 0.9 into 0.9 into 0.9 is not going to be overall. It's not going to be 0.9. It's going to be 0.8 something. So which means that is reliability gets reduced. Uh, in order to have the better reliability, we also opt for a parallel reliability where, say for example, if I'm considering the reliability as 0.9, so 1 minus 0.9 into 1 minus 0.9, overall 1 minus 0.9, so it will be, the reliability will be higher than 0.9. So that's where the reliability is much more higher in the case of parallel reliability when compared to that of the series reliability. So let us see some examples of respect to parallel reliability where the cells are in parallel. Even if one cell fails, then there will not be any problem with respect to the stoppage point of view. Where here it increases the higher life, and then the redundancy is also better. Say for example, if you have the 3 parallel or 4 parallel systems, the overall reliability is there improved. And say very important aspect with respect to the brake system, we have regenerative braking plus hydraulic system braking. Even if regenerative braking fails, hydraulic works. That's where you have the overall better reliability with respect to the function point of view. Say for example, in the case of EV brake by wire systems. So in short, I can say the reliability is less for series reliability and more for parallel reliability. And you need to have the complete systems to get work for a series, whereas here, even if one works also, it will not affect the performance. Okay, as I was talking about ASIL, which is nothing but automotive safety index level, we have 4 levels. One is ASIL A, ASIL B, and then ASIL C and ASIL D. Starts with lowest severity, moderately low severity, moderately high severity, and then highest severity. And it is nothing but the product of exposure into severity into controllability, E into S into C. That will give us ASIL A, B, C, and D. Um, so what is exposure? Exposure is nothing but the probability of occurrence of the fault in the in the system, where you have E1, which is nothing but very low possibility of occurrence, um, and E2 is nothing but low possibility of occurrence, and E3 is nothing but the medium possibility, E4 is nothing but high possibility. And when I say severity, severity is nothing but the intensity of the damage and its impact on the vehicle and the occupants. So you have light injuries, slight injuries, severe injuries, and then life-threatening incidents. That's why S0, S1, S2, and S3. And lastly, you have controllability, where which is nothing but ease of controlling the vehicle by the driver in case of fault or malfunction. You have C1, C2, and C3, where C1 is easy to control, C2 is moderately difficult to control, and C3 is very difficult to control. Now, again, this is the table where you have exposure here, where you have the severity here, and you have the controllability in here. So when I multiply, say for example, ASIL D is the highest one, right, where you have the highest severity. So ASIL D is nothing but C3 into S3 into E4. Okay, so C3 is nothing but difficult. C3 is nothing but difficult to control, and E4 is nothing but high possibility of occurrence, and S3 is nothing but life-threatening incident. So also it comes under SLD category. I'm going to give one example with respect to motor control unit in the next slide for SLC and SLD, so you will understand that. So SLC is nothing but it is life-threatening, again life-threatening incidents, and then or it can also be severe injury also. And here it is a product of C3 into E3 into S3 or C3 into E4 into S2. Okay, let me give an example so that you will understand. So this is an example of a motor control unit where we start with a function. I'm taking two functions. One function is monitoring the motor control unit temperature and protecting against overheating. And next, we are analyzing the DFMA for this, where over temperature is not detected, leading to thermal stress. This is the failure mode. And the vehicle level HARA is sudden loss of propulsion or the smoke generation. The safety goal is to prevent the unsafe and also motor control unit thermal condition. So here is it's coming under SLC category. And for this safety goal and for this SC category, we need to start the function safety requirement, where the motor control unit shall continuously monitor and the MOSFET temperature going in a derating condition above the threshold. And we go for having the TSR requirements, and we have the primary safety mechanisms, secondary safety mechanisms, safe transition states, and also the redundancy aspects. So, for example, here when you're talking about the safe transition, we go for a controlled power reduction and then the safe motor shutdown. And in the case of redundancy, we go for a dual temperature sensing and then the independent hardware thermal cutoff. And again, the one more function for SLD for a motor control unit is to control motor torque and vehicle acceleration. So here you see here the failure mode is unintended high torque, which is leading to the sudden acceleration. So when the vehicle is getting accelerated suddenly, what happens? It will lead to the hazard issue where the loss of vehicle can the control will be lost and leading to the severe collision, right? So that is the reason it is coming under SLD category. And the goal here is to achieve to ensure that we are preventing the unintended acceleration in all operating conditions. So we have the FSR to ensure to disable the safety to safely disable the driver output during the fault. And in the case of thermal TSR technical safety requirements, we are going to have the PWM monitoring system, hardware shutdown path system, and we have the safety mechanism where we go for a watchdog timer, and we have the secondary safety mechanisms where we have the independent speed sensor and the emergency torque limiter. Finally, we are going for a safe transition where we go for a STO and then limp home mode, where we ensure that the fault is being diagnosed and then the fault will not happen. And we are also ensuring that the fail-safe design, even if the failure happens, it will not lead to the hazard. Where we are ensuring that we have the dual control channel architecture with redundant system with respect to current and speed point of view. Key takeaways from our presentation. So overall, we need to have the integrated engineering approach to achieve the balance with respect to performance, cost, and safety aspects. And we need to have the value-driven safety and reliability, where we are ensuring the optimization with respect to cost without any compromise on the safety reliability aspects. And we are also selecting the proper material selection and better architecture. We are also simplifying it, and we have function focused design. This is the very key aspects, and the safety by design has been achieved, and through the integration activity. And we are also achieving the reliability for real world conditions by DFMA, and then doing all this test, whatever has been mentioned, like halt, horse, those aspects. And then we also do the test with respect to the lot of the component level testing, and we do a lot of tests. Say, for example, we do all these tests, component level testing, and we do a lot of tests with respect to the vehicle level testing. So all these tests are being carried out to ensure that uh, to ensure that reliability has been achieved considering the real world condition. That's where the real world condition comes into picture, and we are doing all these tests. And next comes by integrating, we are also achieving the cross-functional synergy, where we are ensuring that uh, the reliability, safety, and then the overall the time is also being met with respect to the fast time to market is also being achieved. Finally, the way forward here is in order to have the safe, reliable, and cost-effective electric vehicle product or system or complete holistic approach, we need to have integrated framework which will have the long-term customer confidence. Um, so, thanks for